Hello, Midnights. You are listening to your favorite bedtime stories. Next up, the S4 Chronicles inside the hidden vaults of Project Aquarius and the telepathic legacy of J-Rod. We hope you enjoy our stories. Let us know where you are tuning in from. And while you're here, please consider subscribing to our channel. It really helps keeping these stories coming. Thank you. The narrative surrounding Dan Burish and the extraterrestrial entity known as J-Rod stands as one of the most intricate, controversial, and deeply layered accounts within the expansive landscape of modern conspiracy theories and ufology. It is a story that weaves together alleged deep black military operations, advanced extraterrestrial biology, telepathic communication, time paradoxes, and a shadow government operating entirely outside the purview of the American public and the traditional chain of command. To fully comprehend the sheer magnitude of the claims brought forward by Dr. Dan Burish, one must delve into the very origins of his alleged involvement with the military-industrial complex, tracing his path from a highly specialized microbiologist to a central figure in one of the most highly classified projects in human history. According to the testimonies and extensive interviews provided by Burish, his foray into the covert world began during the tumultuous geopolitical climate of the 1991 Gulf War. During this international conflict, Burish claims to have been assigned to a highly secretive Black Ops unit embedded deep within the international coalition's zone of operations. His specific mission during this deployment was not one of conventional warfare, but rather a highly sensitive and perilous counter-operation. He was tasked with neutralizing a rogue military unit's catastrophic plan to deploy unauthorized biological warfare agents against the Iraqi army. This initial baptism into the world of classified military operations and existential biological threats seemingly set the stage for his induction into a much deeper, far more extraordinary tier of government secrecy. Following his successful return from the Gulf War, Dr. Burish was not integrated back into civilian life or standard military research, but was instead recruited into the clandestine echelons of the shadow government, specifically being appointed to the prestigious and highly classified rank of a microbiologist 5. His new post was located at the infamous Papoose Lake facility, an installation commonly referred to in ufological circles as S4, situated south of the well-known Area 51 in Nevada. It was within this subterranean, heavily guarded complex that Burish alleges he was introduced to Project Aquarius, an umbrella operation dedicated to the study, reverse engineering, and biological analysis of extraterrestrial entities and their technologies. As a leading scientist on this project, Burish was placed in charge of a specialized team with a very specific, unprecedented medical mandate focusing on the severe neuropathy afflicting an extraterrestrial biological entity referred to only as J-Rod. The description of J-Rod diverges significantly from the traditional gray aliens popularized in science fiction and standard abduction lore. Burish described his initial encounter with the being as profoundly shocking, characterizing J-Rod as a giant insect-like entity possessing a distinct exoskeleton, a physical constitution that challenged the fundamental understanding of terrestrial biology. The nature of Burish's work with J-Rod was incredibly intimate and medically complex, requiring strict protocols to ensure the survival of both the human researchers and the extraterrestrial patient. Their interactions took place within a highly specialized, environmentally controlled habitat known as a clean sphere containment unit, designed to replicate the specific atmospheric and environmental conditions necessary for J-Rod's survival, while protecting the human scientists from potential unknown biological contaminants. Inside this sterile, pressurized environment, Burish's primary responsibility was to extract, process, and rigorously evaluate microscopic tissue samples from the entity. The ultimate goal of this painstaking cellular research was to develop a medical treatment or genetic patch that could be reintroduced into J-Rod's system to alleviate the debilitating nerve degeneration or neuropathy that the being was suffering from. This medical crisis was not merely a matter of biological curiosity, but was positioned as a critical diplomatic and survival imperative for the extraterrestrial race. As Burish spent more time in the clean sphere, the boundaries between clinical observation and profound interpersonal connection began to blur. Communication with J-Rod was not conducted through spoken language, vocalizations, or any technological translation device, but rather through direct telepathic interfacing. Burish detailed how he could vividly feel the entity's emotions, experiencing the raw physical sensations of J-Rod's pain and the profound psychological weight of its existence directly within his own consciousness. This empathetic link transformed the cold clinical reality of Project Aquarius into a deeply emotional and morally complex ordeal, as Burish began to view the extraterrestrial not as a captive specimen, but as a sentient, suffering being with whom he shared a profound neurological resonance. The underlying lore of the J-Rod entity, as derived from the classified briefing books and highly guarded documents to which Burish was allegedly granted access, paints a picture of a universe far more complex than simple interplanetary travel. These briefings meticulously detailed the biology, intricate social structures, and the profound implications that the J-Rods held for the future of humankind. The narrative posits that the J-Rods are not merely travelers from a distant star system, but are heavily implicated in a vast, temporally complex exchange program with human authorities. The core premise of this exchange program suggests a desperate mutual dependency. The extraterrestrials provided the shadow government with unimaginably advanced technology, while the humans offered biological resources, genetic material, and a safe harbor to help the J-Rods solve their degrading physical problems, specifically their genetic breakdown and neuropathy. This cooperative, albeit highly secretive, alliance was deeply intertwined with the looming threat of a catastrophic event predicted to occur in the year 2012. According to the extensive lore shared by Burish, a primary objective of the Drod's presence and their collaboration with human scientists was to prevent the disastrous activation of human-created artificial wormholes, which threatened to tear apart the fabric of the space-time continuum and trigger a cataclysmic divergence in the timeline. This temporal aspect of the conspiracy theory introduces some of the most mind-bending elements of Burish's testimony, specifically the utilization of unimaginably advanced technology such as the Stargate and the Looking Glass device. Project Looking Glass is described in these accounts as a revolutionary, reality-altering technology capable of peering through the fabric of time itself, allowing operators to view past events and calculate the probabilities of future timelines with astonishing accuracy. The Looking Glass technology, allegedly reverse-engineered from extraterrestrial hardware or gifted directly by the Drods, operated on principles of quantum physics and time manipulation that far exceed modern scientific paradigms, involving the stabilization of micro-wormholes to create temporal viewing windows. The paradoxes of altering timelines, the ethical nightmare of possessing foresight of global catastrophes, and the immense power dynamics involved in controlling such technology became central themes in Burish's narrative of the shadow government's operations. The implication is that entities like Majestic 12, the legendary and highly debated secretive committee allegedly formed to manage the extraterrestrial presence, utilized Project Looking Glass to guide global events, manipulate geopolitical outcomes, and attempt to steer humanity away from, or perhaps towards, specific temporal inevitabilities. The psychological toll of working under such immense secrecy, coupled with the profound emotional connection forged with a suffering extraterrestrial being, eventually brought Dr. Burish into direct conflict with the draconian oversight of his superiors. The governance of these black projects was allegedly dictated by a shadowy syndicate known as the Committee of the Majority, an evolution or offshoot of the original Majestic 12 group, which wielded absolute unchecked authority over all operations at the S4 facility. In the late 1990s, the tension between Barish's growing empathy for J-Rod and the cold, utilitarian directives of the military-industrial complex reached a boiling point. Barish was formally censured by the Committee of the Majority for outright violating direct, classified orders. The specifics of these violations are often attributed to his compassionate actions toward J-Rod, actions that compromised the strict, dehumanizing protocols established by the security apparatus of Project Aquarius. This censure marked the beginning of Barish's transition from a compliant, deep black operative to a controversial whistleblower. His subsequent decision to publicly disclose the labyrinthine secrets of Site 4, the existence of Project Looking Glass, the reality of the Stargate, and the heartbreaking biological plight of J-Rod thrust him into the volatile center of the UFO disclosure movement. When analyzing the vast expanse of Dan Barish's testimony, it is impossible to separate the man from the intense ecosystem of conspiracy theories that surround him. His revelations strike at the very heart of the modern truth embargo, raising critical, unsettling questions about government secrecy, the control of classified information, and the deep cover operations that operate beyond the reach of democratic oversight. For believers and researchers within the ufological community, Barish is often viewed as a courageous truth-teller, a man who sacrificed his career, his safety, and his anonymity to expose a cosmic reality that the global populace has a fundamental right to know. Proponents of his narrative point to the incredible consistency of his deeply technical jargon, his profound understanding of microbiology, and the emotional authenticity with which he describes his telepathic interactions with J-Rod. Furthermore, elements of his testimony have been seen by some as aligning eerily with the recent highly publicized statements made by modern intelligence whistleblowers, such as David Grush and Jake Barber. These contemporary figures have similarly testified before Congress and the public about the existence of deep cover operations, hidden extraterrestrial retrieval programs, and the possession of non-human biological evidence, lending a retroactive veneer of plausibility to the wilder claims made by Barish decades earlier. The parallels suggest a consistent, underlying architecture of secrecy, a hidden world where DNA research plays a pivotal role in extraterrestrial interactions and where the boundaries of physics are routinely shattered in underground laboratories. Conversely, the skeptic community and mainstream scientific bodies view the Dan Barish narrative as an elaborate fabrication, a complex piece of science fiction masquerading as whistleblower testimony. Critics argue that the complete lack of verifiable, physical evidence, no smuggled tissue samples, no stolen documents that can be independently authenticated, and no corroborating witnesses from the scientific mainstream, renders his extraordinary claims fundamentally unfalsifiable and therefore scientifically invalid. The descriptions of insectoid exoskeletons, telepathic emotional transference, and functioning time-viewing machines are often dismissed as the hallmarks of a fertile imagination rather than historical fact. Furthermore, the labyrinthine complexity of the lore itself, incorporating ancient history, catastrophic timeline convergence, the Committee of the Majority, and the impending doom of 2012, which ultimately passed without the predicted temporal collapse, is frequently cited as evidence of a constantly evolving, self-serving mythology designed to keep audiences captivated rather than to report objective reality. Skeptics suggest that figures like Barish exploit the profound innate human desire to believe that we are not alone in the universe, weaving psychological thrillers that capitalize on the inherent mistrust of secretive government institutions. Despite the fierce debates regarding the veracity of his claims, the story of Dan Barish and the J-Rod alien remains a cornerstone of modern conspiracy architecture. It encapsulates the ultimate archetype of the insider stepping out of the shadows, bringing with him tales of genetic anomalies, the psychological challenges of interacting with non-human intelligence, and the terrifying responsibility of holding the keys to time manipulation. Whether one views Burish as a pioneering hero of the disclosure movement or a controversial architect of modern folklore, his narrative forces society to confront profound philosophical questions. It asks us to consider the ethical implications of interspecies diplomacy, the moral cost of absolute secrecy, and the dizzying realization that the fabric of our reality, our timelines, and our understanding of the universe might be vastly more complex, malleable, and crowded than we have ever been led to believe. The legend of J-Rod, suffering in a pressurized sphere beneath the Nevada desert, tethered telepathically to a human microbiologist, remains a haunting, enduring image that continues to fuel our collective curiosity about what truly lies hidden beneath the surface of our known world.